All right, here we go. Oh, that's what it said. Oh, duh. All right, here we go. It is live, you guys. Let me share it to my community. Share it to my community. You guys may have to turn the sound down because I hear an echo coming from somebody's computer.
Yeah, no, that's me.
Okay. All right. Let me just make sure we got it going here. Okay, yep, we are live. All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you guys for joining me again today for another Legacy Lab virtual workshop where we're talking about the skilled trades. And this month we are talking about how to enter the skilled trades, how to evolve in the skilled trades, and how to excel in the skilled trades. So we have a new participant that is joining our panel today, and we're going to let him just go ahead and get started and kick us off. We're going to be talking about basically, since he is the newest member and also the youngest member of our panel today, we are going to just let him open up with how to get started in the skilled trades. But before we do that, let's just go ahead and introduce ourselves to everybody who is watching. I'll just kick us off. So my name is Keisha L. Blair. You guys know me as Keisha the Electrician. I'm a skilled trades champion, a technical leadership development a trainer, and also the host of Alpha Intuition podcast. All right, let me kick it off to Ernest. You can go next.
All right, I am Ernest James. I am a speaker, podcaster, and author, as well as a tradesman. 20 something years as a as a bricklayer. Um, yeah, my mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. To deal with your problems, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. And one of those things is talk to young people about getting into the building trades, because it definitely has made a difference in my life. And so that's me in a nutshell.
All right, Dom.
All right, good morning. My name is Dom Jacome. Your number one Native American motivational speaker, right? So I work with the youth as a trades advocate. I go in, I give them a blueprint, I show them my success and show what it looks like for them, and ultimately give them a blueprint on, just have clear direction. Um, and yeah, man, I'm a tradesman. I'm a pipe fitter. I'm a welder, currently in the field, but I'm also an entrepreneur building out my business.
All right, and then we'll let LaShawn. You can go ahead and take us out, and just go ahead and after you finish your intro, you can just go right into talking about how you got started in the skill trades. But let everybody know who you are and where you're from and what you do.
How y'all doing today? My name is LaShawn Sanders. I'm a union electrician out of Chicago, and I'm 20 years old. I'm a speaker as well, so I do youth development and I do trades and career exposure, right? So I go into churches, I go into middle schools and high schools, and I advocate for the trades. I give them exposure towards the trades. I give them exposure towards the soft skills needed to be able to be fruitful in the trades, and also I work on financial literacy with them as well, so they know how to manage the influx of cash that they'll be receiving. So that's that. And now to speak on how I got into the trade. So my story starts at, I would say, 16 years old. Um, I went to high school in the city in Chicago, and a lot of the counselors always push college. They always push college. So I didn't have an adequate level of exposure to the trades at first. So they pushed college and they pushed college, and I felt in my spirit that that wasn't what I wanted to do. I felt that there was another way. I didn't feel like I wanted to take on that much debt. I didn't want to try to figure it out and have to put in resumes, and I'm going against millions of other people trying to make something happen in finance and business with a degree like that. So I really kind of explored my options, and around that time, my school they had an electrician program that was affiliated with the union. So my junior year, I was actually the first one to sign up for that program. So the second half of my junior year and all of my senior year, I was actually in an IBEW affiliated program where again we learned soft skills to be able to handle the trades. We worked with our hands. We learned how to, just very minute piping, a little bit of wiring, just giving us the fundamentals to be able to hit the ground running once we get into the trades as a trainee and or first year apprentice. So I did that my junior and my senior year, and because of that, I was actually pipelined into a summer solar program. So the IBEW, in my union, in my local, we have a program that's connected to the union called renewable energy. So with renewable energy, that's mainly solar that we focus on. So right out of high school, I graduated in May. So in August, I was in a summer solar program for this duration of about a couple weeks. A couple weeks, I was in that summer solar program where they crammed solar into my head. So they taught me everything from telling me exactly what a photovoltaic is to telling me which way it has to face to get the correct amount of, yeah, it was a lot that I learned in that course. After that course, we were pipelined into something called the trainee program. So the trainee program is where you can't really you can't work with the tools yet. So you're mainly a helper. So this is just to give you exposure to the trade. So I started off doing that right out of high school. I was making $18 an hour
Mm.
automatically. I was making $18 an hour. And I'm sure as some of the older tradesmen say, when y'all started, y'all was making how
Man,
much?
I was a journeyman. I didn't start making 18, so I became a journeyman. I was making like $6.50 an hour when I first started. But like I said, but that was back in the 1900s before you were born. So we.
Right. I think I started off, I started off at half scale. I don't think it was quite $20, but it was right around there,
Uh-huh.
right around 20.
Yeah. So for me, I started off after trainee, after I did the trainee week where we go through OSHA training, they give us a bunch of certificates that we can take with us. So after I did that training, now I'm officially on the job site, right? So I graduated in May. I did this solar workshop, right, that gets me certified in doing solar and renewable energy. I did trainee week, which gives us the fundamentals of what to do on the job site, good practices. You get your CPR training. Again, I said OSHA, things of that nature. And then now I'm on the job site. So this happened from a span of May of, okay, I'm gonna be an electrician, I'm gonna go into the field to now September. Now I'm actually officially in the field, right? So while everyone else is having those trunk parties ready to take on that debt, I was able to hit the ground running regarding my finances and regarding my career, right? So my first job was actually a $2.5 million solar job. And I just got the luck of the draw with that, right? So I was very fortunate enough to be in that summer solar program because I was there actually with two other helpers, right? They called us helpers. And I was able to hit the ground running. Why? Because I had that level of exposure. And I'm a firm believer in your level of exposure dictating your level of success, right? So the other two guys I was working with, they didn't necessarily know what to do, right? And I'm coming in like, okay, I know it has to be facing this way. And the foreman was like, who this kid? And then I told them, I was like, they just literally just 8 hours a day just crammed this into my head. So I really do appreciate, I'm really fortunate for that program because I was somewhat helpless, but I wasn't completely helpless, right? So I did that first solo job. We knocked it out the park. We hit our deadline, and that really opened up what it is, right? That really opened up my level of exposure because it's one thing just being in the classroom talking about it, right? But now you have to adjust to it, right? So start time was at 6 o'clock. It was about an hour away from my house, right? So I'm waking up 3 o'clock just to make sure I'm able to. I know you guys know that, right? That
Mm-hmm.
early, we work early, right? So now I'm
Yeah.
waking up 3 o'clock. You got to make sure you have all your tools ready. Got to make sure that it's just you have to learn how to adapt to that, right? And like I said, being an 18-year-old kid, I didn't necessarily have a lot of life experience as well that comes with being able to adapt the best way, right? So it was a lot of growing pains. There was a lot of growing pains with that, just trying to learn how to just growing up in that trade. Just now you don't have that bubble of high school anymore, right? Now you're not around 18-year-old kids. Now you're around 40-year-old
Man,
journeyman. You're
grown
around
man.
man who've been doing this a lot longer than you've been alive, right? So
Yeah.
I really want to write home that first impression, right? So I asked a lot of people that I knew were in the trade, who I got exposed to because of that program that I was in. and they just told me, make sure you have a belt on, right? Make sure, your pants all the way up, belt tucked in. Make sure you have good boots on. Your boots are everything, right? Make sure
Mhm.
you have, they just put me up on that game, right? Because coming from where I came from, no one was doing that,
Yeah.
right? I didn't have any family in the trades as well. So being able to learn from them as well. And again, I want to keep reiterating that level of exposure really did help me hit the ground running. So after we were done with that solar job, I got transferred to a different company and I was actually able to work on the Obama Center, the one that they're building in Jackson Park. So I was there for about a year, right? And then that's a bunch of different trades.
Yeah.
And around that time, I wasn't in the union yet because being a trainee, you have to take the test to get in, and then you're gonna go through school, and then you're gonna be an apprentice, right?
It's
So
a job.
now, hmm?
Said a jobber.
Yeah, yeah,
They call
right,
them
right,
jobbers.
yeah, right.
Yep.
So I was just working hard. I was studying every day. I had just applied, taking my test. I was stoked. I was excited. They told us how many people applied to that test. They say 2,300 people
Mm.
applied to that test,
Wow.
right? So I took the test. I didn't. I was like, just oh my God, I hope I got in. I hope I got in. Only 60 spots were taken. They only accepted 60 people
Mm.
in my
Mm.
cycle. So I took the test in March. I officially got my acceptance letter in October. So at the age of 19, I started IBW school. I started that training, right? So I didn't do anything. I didn't do nothing else. Thank you.
You're gonna
But
have to show me how to do that, Keisha.
but what I would like to write home is because I know a lot of people, there's a common misconception in the trades that we're background characters, right? That it's not attainable, especially for people around my age that look like me in my environment, right? So, with me telling this story so far, what is the number one thing that makes me different? The number one thing that makes me different? Absolutely nothing. It's my level of exposure. Your level of exposure dictates your level of success. So, for anybody watching this, I would just like to say, you can do it. You just have to have that mindset. Your mindset just has to be broad and to be able to give you that possibility. You can't achieve something that you don't know is out there for you, right? So there's absolutely nothing that separates me from that 18-year-old kid wondering what he wants to do, right? It's just I just had that level of exposure. I just had this new pathway opened up to me, so I took it, right? You got to strike by that iron that's hot. You got to take the options and opportunity that comes your way. So that's just something I wanted to write home about. So
Yeah.
continuing on, I officially got in school in October of last year. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. Absolute hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. So I was the youngest one actually in the whole site. I got 60 people. I was the youngest one. Right. So now again, I had to learn how to adapt to now you're the youngest one in the room. Everyone's looking at you like, dang, like I've been taking and then I got in the first time. That's really unheard of. Getting in the first time now, I guess, is really unheard of. So now we all just sharing like the war stories of how we got in, right? And I'm like, yeah, I took the test and I got in there. Like, man, you got in? I got in 6 times, but my exposure level, right? Again, nothing different. When they gave me that testing material, when you go apply, I just studied it. You just look at it. That's it. So
Mm.
did that 3 months of school. I learned fundamentals of bending conduit, circuitry, the code book, and just construction. So just basic material handling. So once we were done with that, I got back on the job site as an official first year apprentice. So
Yeah.
I worked on a number of job sites since then. I've been blessed to work at airports and train stations and again the Obama Center. And it's just those are jobs that one day I'm gonna be able to in about 10, 15 years from now, I'll be able to show my kids that I worked there. Right. I helped build that. Right. So it's a really satisfying and gratifying thing that again is achievable to anyone who just knows that it's out there for you, right? So to anyone watching this, I would just say just open your realm of possibility because you too can do exactly what I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you like this, it's definitely true because my kids already know we ride down anywhere in Memphis. I'll tell them the buildings that I worked on. So yeah, you're gonna get that chance to just flex.
Yeah, and then it adds to your dating points too, because I remember around the time when I got in and I was dating, there were a couple how I got in when I first got into construction, I was doing carpentry as a carpenter. So we was building new houses and we had did like 3 blocks. This whole block, the bank owned like 3 blocks, and we just went lot to lot just building these houses. And in my younger days, I used to go down there like, yeah, I built all these houses, you know. But Sean, I want to go back to something you said though, because one of the things that we don't know or didn't know at that time getting in for me was being exposed to the unions and things of that nature. So my high school that I went to, we did have a construction class, we did have an automotive class, we did have some other things like that. But even in the construction class, which I took, they didn't tell us anything about the unions. They, like you said, they stress going to college. And so when I graduated from high school, I went to college. So let me go back a little bit. I already knew I wanted to be a bricklayer. I knew I wanted to be a bricklayer since I was in grammar school, pretty much. And so I already knew, all right, when I get out of high school, I'm going into the construction field. So when I graduated and went to go to college, I was looking for bricklaying classes, and there are no bricklaying classes in your regular college. If you go to a trade school, then it's different. But your regular college, they have carpentry and electricians. Some places have plumbing now, but generally in your regular colleges, you have carpentry and electricians. So I started being a carpenter. But I didn't know one of my friends that actually graduated with me. We graduated the same day, walked across the stage. His dad was a union bricklayer. And I never knew that. And so when we graduated, he went straight into the union. And it was years later that I found out about the unions when I applied and got in. So when I got in, his baby brother was starting when I was starting. That's how many years had passed because I just didn't know. And so that's one of the things that gave me the drive, just like you, to make sure that I'm exposing our younger generations to the opportunity of the building trades. Because again, everybody's not going to go to college. Everybody don't want to go to college, but you can still have a rewarding, paying career if you just know that it's possible, number one, and then if you know where to go to get the information.
Yeah, and
So
I'm like this, that a lot of the time, a lot of the stuff we call it, and I'm calling it legacy because a lot of the times you don't even hear about the skill trades or how to get into the skill trades when you're younger unless it comes from an older family member. So, that's why I'm pushing to try to help young people understand how to get into the different skill trades because I didn't hear about it. My brother is the one that told me about it. And so I started my career in the electrical field when I was 20 years old. But I had done other things prior to that between graduating high school. And then, starting that, I graduated when I was 16. So from 16 to 20, there was a lot of stuff that went on in those 4 years. And I actually could have completed, had been almost finished with it had I heard about it, when I first completed the program. So, or when I first completed high school. So it's all about that exposure. So Dom, how old were you when you got started in skill trades?
I was 19 years old when I got exposed to the trades, right? But it would just be the opposite of actually what LaShawn was talking about, how he said that he had no exposure, like nobody in his family was doing that. Man, I commend you for that, brother. Because, for me, it was everybody that I grew up around, all the men around me were tradesmen. Like we didn't know nothing but that. Like that was kind of, again, like we talked about it on the last podcast, man. Like the way the school system looked at it was like, bro, that's low hanging fruit. You need to go for that 4-year degree. I mean, I'm pretty sure they pushed that same narrative on you too, right? But again, so like, and they didn't see the value in it. They didn't see the success in it. They didn't realize that they couldn't do their job. Like, in order for them to do their job and like in the spaces that they did it, it required tradesmen, to put that building up, to put that AC system in, to run all that wire, right? But yeah, man, I was 18 years old. Um, My come up was a little different though. However, I didn't have like the introductory like, schools or apprenticeship because I came in non-union. Matter of
Hmm.
fact, it was thrown straight to the wolves. Like we were, I mean, it was get in and get in where you fit in, and you better learn fast, otherwise we don't need you. Right?
Hmm.
It was one of those types of environments, and it's like, man, this is where like your common sense had to play a lot in you know but not only that, man, like the beautiful thing was being next to seasoned journeymen, being next to people who, were just pipe fitters, welders, whatever trade they were, ironworkers, right? And so my thing was from the very beginning when I got into these trades, guy, was like I wanted to find the individual who was the best at whatever it is we were doing and try to get that time of theirs to be able to get that advice. Like you said, your level of exposure determines your level of success. On the last one, we shared about, I mean, I got to a company called MMI, and this dude, Ben, he knew every process that I could think of. He knew how to do the TIG welding, the stick, like he knew it all, right? But not only did he know how to do it, like he was the best in that, environment. So, man, his attitude toward teaching anybody anything was like, I don't want to teach you that, man, because it could potentially put me out of a job. And so, taking advantage of the opportunity when it arose, he was starting to perform. I started taking notes. I started looking at his technique. Man, it was like that Kobe Michael thing. You're studying their every move. Like I didn't want to do nothing different. I got the same welding hood that guy. I got the same stinger that dude had. All his equipment. I started buying that stuff. I'm like, all right, that's what I need to be the best. And now I need to watch what he's doing, right? And I'm going to take notes on that. And so, yeah, man, your level of exposure, man. I love Jamal for that statement, man. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I would even say too, like really Obama, that really kind of broke, like that kind of opened the floodgates right there because that was my first job site where every trade was there,
mm-hmm.
like every trade. So yeah, I'm an electrician, right? But best believe I was picking up on some other things, right? Because you're just in such close
Learn from
proximity with
everybody.
them.
Yeah.
You can't help but learn from everybody. We
Yeah.
all try. Everybody has something to teach you, and then when they see that you hustling and they
Mm-hmm.
see that you work and they want to teach you, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I would say the power of the union is it's the brotherhood, right?
Yep.
Call it a brotherhood for a reason.
Yes,
So,
that's good.
and sisterhood, of
Right,
course.
right.
It's just yeah.
Brother,
Represent.
it's just a family. It's a family, right? So
Yeah.
it's a family. And in that family, I'd say I have been fortunate enough to where if I ask a question, please teach me, you know? Like
Yeah.
just please teach me, right? So I, yeah, I'm sorry that you had to experience that, like that cutthroatness of it, right?
Hey, man, I loved it, bro. The entire process,
Yeah,
everything. To be honest, like I just thought this is what it was like to get into the trades,
yeah.
Wow.
and from my perspective, everybody was dissing the union, right?
Mm,
I got a union experience until I was about 11 years in, and I joined the pipe fitters union, and I was
mhm,
a part of the um I was a part of the local 469 union pipe fitters. Um that just that route didn't work out for me. It was more beneficial for me to go back to, the non-union space because I'd already built like big relationships, and a lot of opportunities had already just came to my front door because of the work that I've done and the relationships I've developed.
mhm,
So again, it benefited me more to go and then it gave me a lot of leeway to do things like building my business.
mhm,
um we can expound on that later, but no, man, you're right, man. Like every trade, like when you're on a job site where there's multiple trades, that's the beautiful thing, man. It's like even with pipe fitting, it's synonymous with electrical work. Why? Because when you're bending those tubes, when you're doing them angles, like I mean, there was a time where I remember, and this was when I had my time with the union. It was where the union out here, the IBEW was pulling guys from the pipe fitter side because they needed help bending that 4-inch tube, 6-inch tube. And so
Mhm.
because the pipe fitters knew that, I mean, they knew the craft like that, they worked hand in hand with each other's, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, man.
So I'm going to say this,
Mm.
LaShawn, because as a journeyman electrician, we love apprentices that come in that are hungry, that want to learn, that want to know, and don't act like you know everything. I've actually had apprentices reach out to me, even, when I got into maintenance and were just asking me about advice. And I just told them, soak up everything that you can, because every journeyman is going to teach you something different. And the goal is for you to learn as much as you can. And then when you become a journeyman, you develop your own style and you take that style and you teach the other apprentices that you have to train. So that's what it's really all about, is learning as much as you can learn and then developing your own style from that, because there'll be a lot of things that one journeyman will do that you may not do or you may not like, but you take the good and you throw out the bad, and then you create the style that you want to create so that you can help other apprentices that come after you.
Yeah. And Keisha, I wanna touch on one thing that you mentioned about legacy is when you get on these job sites and you start talking to these other tradesmen and tradeswomen, you find out just
Great
how
people.
far you find out just how far that legacy goes back, because you're like, hey, my grandfather was a bricklayer and his father was a bricklayer, and it goes back. And so sometimes even that can be somewhat intimidating. My father was a mechanic. You know what I mean? So I'm a first year bricklayer. So I come on, I'm just learning myself. Then it's also like, all right, how can I, you know, get my family, the younger people in my family to start this as a tradition that, or should I say, as a legacy that helps to build the rest, build our family, years to come. And sometimes they don't want it. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're like, no, I don't want it. But when you are able to pass that, pass your knowledge on to someone in your family and go a couple generations, even when you get to the job site, and you start mentioning your name and your last name, and those who are in your trade, you're like, oh yeah, I know your dad, I knew your grandfather, and I worked with him. It also adds to that pride, not only of the trade, but the pride and legacy of your family, that you've been able to uphold this trade for years and generations to come.
To
Yeah.
be able to, it starts with us, it definitely starts with us. I would say that we have to be the curse breakers. We have to be the ones that pave that way, you know. So I know personally, I'm happy to be that beacon of others to see that it's possible, right? Because okay, you can look at it from two ways, right? You can look at it as okay, I'm coming from this environment where no one has done nothing, right? I don't, like I said, I don't have anyone. I couldn't talk to one electrician before I started this whole thing, right? But now people can talk to me,
That's
right?
right.
I get phone calls all the time from kids that are just coming out of high school, right? And they're like, "Hey, I seen you on Instagram, or I seen you speaking somewhere. How can I do this as well?" And I give them step by step exactly on how to go about it, right? And then hopefully you can, when you get in, all I say is you pay it forward.
That's
Just pay
right.
it forward.
That's it.
Hey, man, that's good stuff.
Yeah. So look, I want to ask you that we're going to switch over to our next topic here, where we're talking about the effects of AI in the skill trade. So Dom, um, as far as a pipe fitter, from your perspective, it's like, how does AI interact with your world, or how is it reshaping the industry for the pipe fitters?
Man, I'll tell you what, like I remember when I first got into the industry, and this was 13 years ago, right? And I mean, the resources we had back then, we still had engineers utilizing their computers, but nothing like what it is today, right? Now, one of the I feel like the best contributions and the most innovative tools is the BIM, right? A lot of you guys know what the BIM is, right? It's the building information model, right? And so what you could do is, I mean, you could put that virtual reality Oculus thing on, and you could walk through the building, as if it was already built. But here's where it's like it's most beneficial, right? Because it'll give you a building model of like what's supposed to exist, right? It gives you a glimpse of what the future should look like. Um, you got conduit, you got HVAC, you got, machinery in certain places. And I mean, this stuff is so innovative to the point to where they set these sensors, these cameras, these drones in place, and it scans the entire building. It'll tell you, the grade, like it'll tell you like the level of your concrete, density, all of that stuff, right? And so it actually prevents a lot of clashing, and it helps you to be more effective. And in especially with scheduling, man, like I remember the days of actually having a system, and individuals, just putting forth a system on, however they did it back then, right? I mean, again, you just have to plan it. You create a SMART goal, you could do that, right? But the beautiful thing about AI is like you could tell it what you wanted to do, and it's going to give you a SOP, or it's going to give you a step-by-step process from beginning to the end. You could tell it like this is our start, these are the materials we got. And I mean, it's so effective in that space because again, it helps you to, I feel like, be more time efficient, eliminates waste. And again, like, they even have right now, they have a software, I forget the name of it, but what it does is like it'll calculate based off the data that's inputted into the system because now everything's almost digital, right? When you do your job hazard analysis and you show up in the morning, everybody knows you got to do your PTP, whatever. There's several different names, JXAs, right? But anyways, so you take that information and you put it into the system, and it gives you like, trends, and it's like what's predictable in this, task. You got a list of potential hazards. And so, when you're doing your mass meetings, there's like, all right, what are the most common, hazards that are on the job site based off the data that you input into that, software. It'll give you what's likely to happen, right? And so there's that aspect of it. There's another part of these softwares that they use on, and this is from like the higher up level, right? They have it calculates the journeyman to apprentice ratio. So to be able to, finish this job within this timeline based off of the foreman and supervisor reports that are input into the system, it should take, 100 man hours to complete this specific task, right? And that 100 man hours entails one journeyman, three apprentices, right? And one apprentice is going to go grab the material. The other apprentice is, he's layout, he's cutting the conduit, right? And then this other apprentice who's maybe a third year apprentice, and so he's getting closer to that bust out stage, right? Like they like to call it in the union, and he's working hand in hand with the journeyman, and they're actually doing the more critical side of it, where they're maybe getting the bends, and then of course, that whole preparation process, right? I mean, you move from that. I think it's very helpful, right? And again, for like, if you look at it also, like I touched on this earlier in the beginning, like the surveying, I mean, you don't have to walk, 3-4 mile job site anymore. Those days are over, right? You got this drone that's going to fly, it's going to scan everything. It's going to give them the grade, it's going to give them the type of soil that's under there, and based off of information like from the as built stuff, you're going to find out what's beneath the surfaces, what kind of soil, sediment, all that stuff. And then it saves so much time. Um, my niece actually just finished welding school, and I remember when I was in high school and I was in the welding program, they had a weld simulator there, but it was like the first one they put out, and our school system had one. I mean, it was a little bit wonky. Like you had, you looked at the screen and then you tried to do the welding process, but it just like you were only able to see. But so my niece, when she was in this welding program here in the city, they had given her like one of those Oculus, and then they gave her an actual, welding stinger. I mean, I have one on the backside, but like you could put the rod in there and then it gives you like a virtual experience of executing your task, right? And so now you're in a safer environment, just developing the motor skills, right? And so kind of like how when you were in high school, LaShawn, where you got that exposure through your school system, they now are giving you exposure to that process before you get into the field. So now your motor skills are developed, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Like you use that, I tried it out and it does help with the motor skills, but it's not the same as doing it in reality, like using the actual materials, like having that hot material. And so, but I see it helpful because it gives them an idea of what to expect, right? So the virtual experience simulators, I mean, it's hazard-free skill development system that'll, betterly prep you, right? And then like old school to new school, man, this is like the beautiful thing is right. If you are coachable and you're old school, like AI is gonna help you in ways you couldn't even imagine. Because again, like when you're trying to communicate, or even you maybe you don't got time to be talking about this entire process on the job site, you could spit into that chat GPT your whole process and you could tell it step by step again. It's taking all the information you put it, it's polishing it up, and it's taking proven data, which is data off the internet that everybody's got. It's taking modern code, modern standard operating procedures, and it's building that little system out for you. So now, as the journeyman pouring into the apprentice, you could give them homework and be like, "Yo, this is what I need you to look at, study." And so, like now the days of just doing it like old school and like using this process, it's kind of over. I like to say that it's going to help you communicate better because it'll say things in ways you couldn't say it. And not only are you, you're more effective in that way, you're a better communicator, right? Because you could learn from the material it puts out. And again, with like Foreman's, it'll help with that 2 week look ahead that you're always, having to plan. I mean, if you had like that CRM set up, I mean, to where you had a little backend system based off your planning, right? The beautiful thing is if you could tell it what you're doing and then you can just, modify like where the job changes, like it'll give and that you'll always have that 2 week look ahead. So now you're not having to take that 4 or 5 hours of planning. You could turn that into 15, 20 minutes of telling your GPT of, hey, this is what we're going to be doing next week. I need you to make me material lists. I need you to, get, man. So like I think that it's helpful, right? And so for like the apprentices, I would say, man, you could learn the trades, you could learn the tech, and then you could become the new standard, right? You could take all that old school knowledge and you could take this AI technology and take full advantage of it. Like, because AI is never going to put us out of a job. We know for a fact that when we're out there, when we're doing the install, there is certain tasks that just no robot will ever do. Like it takes that finesse, it takes that that skill set that you've developed over the years as a pipe fitter, as a pipe welder. I know for a fact there's what's called field welds. You build out the spool pieces, you do your prefabrication on the ground, and then you go fly that bad boy up in the crane, and then you got about 2 inches behind the wall, you need to slap a mirror behind that wall to get that weld. Like, and AI ain't gonna do none of that for you,
Right.
right? So man, like it'll help you, but like I think that you become more valuable, like you're more of an asset being able to leverage AI in your atmosphere, right? Your level of exposure determines your level of success. So if you can get exposed and you can even create an AI system that benefits your, brotherhood, right? Or benefits your skill set, or help get your job done faster. Like, I mean, you you can't make demands unless you're in demand, is what Coach Crump says. Now you could, I mean, this is one thing I love about being non-union is I could demand what I want. Like, I'm not on a scale to where I have to we stay at that scale. It's like, I mean, again, you could elevate in the uni course. Like, I mean, that's cool. I like the structure system as well. But on the other side, like right now, like in my field, man, our welders are making more than our foremen.
Wow.
And
Well,
and the more skills you have, right, the more you could be compensated. And if your skill set is in demand, you're the only guy being able to deliver that set skill set. Like, hey, I need about $5 more an hour, $4 more an hour, and they have no choice but to give that to you. Now, not on a toxic level, but like it's, you can't make demands unless you're in demand, right?
yeah.
Um, so again, so like I really feel like leveraging the AI, like AI would never take your job side, but I think somebody who can leverage AI, or sorry, AI will never take your job. I don't think so, right? In what we do, but someone who can leverage that AI, that's going to be the dude that you got to watch out for, or the woman you got to watch out for.
Look, what I'm hearing you say, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking there's no way that AI can do what we do. But you know whose job it can do? The planner schedulers. They're the ones that need to watch out, not
Yep.
us, because
Right.
it seems like it's taking them out hot and heavy because everything that you just described is what a planner scheduler does. So somebody who takes that information, and electrician who learns how to do that too, just making yourself more valuable, more accessible, just like you said. Because planner scheduler, man, y'all better watch out because that right there, what you just described, is saving the company time and money and a whole salary.
Yeah. Yeah. No question. No question. Yeah. So like, I mean, I see it as being beneficial because, man, I was flying that model on Friday. I was showing my apprentice like, bro, this is what we're gonna build. Visualize this here because I could show him the old school ways of drawing up an isometric drawing. I want him to learn that, but I also want him to look at the BIM. And the beautiful thing of like both processes is if we lost all technical data, that's where the old school skill set comes in. That's how I came up, right? I learned from guys who never went through like a tech program. I mean, they'll draw that offset off on the ground with some chalk, right? And they'll pull their measurements. They'll do their 3, 4, 5 square, right? Make sure everything's tight. And we're gonna just get on our knee. We're gonna pull those measurement bad boys, and then we're gonna put that onto the material. We're gonna cut that, we're gonna weld that, and we're gonna fly that up. It never fails you, right?
Look, hey, I just want to give a quick shout out to people who are watching in the chat. If you guys have questions, you can put them in the chat and I'll try to read them out. But I just want to say, look, I'm seeing all the people that are showing up that I know who are electricians in Memphis. Memphis, y'all showing up in the chat. I appreciate y'all. I see some Deal Hill Fulfill people who are in here, some people that I worked with at Riviana Foods, that I worked with in IBW, James Sullivan, Alfonso Williams, and Mark Bell. We got some people in here from Next Level. I think I saw, I'm gonna mess her name up. Is it Mikhail? Michaela? Mikhail. Mike, Michelle. There we go, I think. Whatever it is, girl, I see you. But anyway, if you guys have questions for us, go ahead and put your questions in the chat and I'll read them out. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue, guys.
Yeah, I'll say this. One of the things that came up some years ago, in the bricklaying field, was them building machines that can lay brick, and they actually did it. They were actually able to create a machine that could lay brick, but it still can't take our jobs because it can only lay brick in a straight line. You know what I mean? And so it can't build the corners. Like you would still have to build the corners. And then the machine itself is so big and heavy. What about if you're building a building that's 3 or 4 floors? Well, how are you gonna get this machine to go up that high? And so they had all these other things like, yeah, in theory, it works on the ground. But after you get so high, you off the ground. You know what I mean? It's like
Yes, sir.
you can't take this machine up there. And if you're doing a I can't think of the veneer. If you're doing a veneer, which is when you have the actual structural building, which is made by the carpenters out of wood, and when you lay the brick, you connect the brick to the wall so that the bricks don't come and lay away from the wall as you go higher up. A machine can't do that. It can't
Yeah.
tell you when you should put that in, and even if it did tell you when to put it in, it can't put it in. So it's all these things that you have to be able to do as a tradesman and tradeswoman, that AI can't do, and where I can help you in some spaces, like where I'm at now, where I'm working now as maintenance on a coke oven. There's a lot of moving machinery, and there were some accidents and things like that. And so now they've came in and put in these new AI systems that now if this machine comes within like 10 feet of you, it automatically shuts down. You know,
Mm.
so there are things like that, safety measures that are put in place where AI is very helpful, you know. But as far as replacing you, definitely not in the masonry in the masonry department. You don't have to worry about that, you know. So yeah.
So here's the kicker with that, right? So I'm the youngest one here. So I'm firmly of the belief is not while I'm around. If y'all go start trying to replace, hey, let me retire first. Let me get that pension. Let me get the pension. I'm good. No, I'm just playing. But my thing is, right, and now, so as you guys know, I'm like you said, I'm the youngest one, right? So I'm experiencing we have apps now that find the measurement of like of a kick, of an offset, things like that, of a 3 bend saddle, 4 bend saddle, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
dang,
Yep. Yep. No, that dude,
Wait,
I'm
wait,
gonna tell
wait,
you the
wait.
truth.
You said you got an app that does that?
yeah, quick bends.
Really? That's interesting. I was the quick bend.
So it's
Like
like
call Keisha up here.
with technology advancing and like I feel like honestly I'm of the belief what a time to get into the trade, right? Because now things are so different, right? So I'm a firm believer in like me personally how I'm going about my career is I'm listening to all the old heads, right? So if you want to teach me, it's a million ways to skin a cat. Teach me
Yep.
the million.
Mhm.
Teach me the million ways to skin a cat. Teach me how it's done old school, right? So teach me like how to find every single measurement just so I can have that solid foundation, right? You need to build those roots before you ever get to the top of that tree. So I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer in having that solid foundation of knowing how to do it the grunt way. And now, okay, if a
Yep.
simple way comes along, then I'm gonna apply that to my repertoire. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna only do that once I master the fundamentals of it first. So
Yep.
that's kind of how I'm going about it, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't download the QuickBand app until I was decent at pipe work because I was like, let's just say you got a job site where they don't want your phone around.
Oh yeah.
You have to
Mm.
maintain that productivity, right? You can't
Yeah, no
say, oh,
question.
well, oh, I'm only fast with my phone. Like, what?
Let me
Go on
tell you
somewhere.
this. Look, I'm sitting here listening to you. Now, I've been and took, I'm like, oh, for real? I took your phone for the rest of the day. Nah, bro, you're going to learn how to do this from scratch. All right. We
Exactly.
ain't making no box cakes. We're
No
going to get out the
question.
flour. We're going to get out the salt. We're going to get out everything we need to go and bake this cake right. You be out there
Exactly.
bending them bends. I can't remember
Yep.
the angle, but you would learn what you would get that ugly book and you would learn. Now, once you get to knowing it like you know it, if you want to use your quick,
Right. Then
that's
you
fine.
could,
But
you
nah,
know,
you come in working
Yeah.
for me, now
Yeah.
you're going to be the quick band, bro. Sorry.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Hurry it up. Come on,
Yeah.
hustle up.
Yeah.
So, and you better hurry up before you get laid off. So so that's just personally how I believe young people coming into the trades should really try to apply that. Don't just rely on AI and things like that. Don't just rely. We tradesmen.
Yeah.
Don't get complacent. Complacency is the mother of all failure. If you get complacent and think AI is about to do your job for you,
Hmm.
hey, okay,
Man.
have to be able
Man.
to. You got to
No,
be able to adapt to
that would be
any
my
environment.
apprentice's nickname. I will, if you're my apprentice, your nickname would be AI. Come on, let's get it, AI. Let's see what
Let's get it, AI.
Right. So yeah, that's just basically what I believe in.
Yeah.
And as you guys, just to reiterate both of y'all points, AI is not taking our job. Right. So
Yeah.
let's just say
It
I would have went.
definitely ain't.
So let's just say. So actually, I got accepted. Actually got scholarship to go to Wiley College in Texas. Right. I was about to be a
Yeah.
business major, finance guy. I was about to take on the world. Right. Uh, they're getting laid off. They're getting replaced by AI right now.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
no question.
there's 80,000 electricians that are needed per year.
Yes, easy.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. 80,000 electricians that are needed per year. These
Yeah.
two hands, they about to be doing this for a while, right? They're not going anywhere. So one thing that I do value and I do love about my job is the job security, right? Because I'm gonna knock on some wood over here and say it's AI proof, because
Yeah.
like you said, they're not getting up in that attic. They're not about to go 500 feet in the air in a small cubicle of a room to freaking, twist those couplings, like you're not doing that. I am, right? So,
AI ain't gonna pull no wire either.
hey,
AI resistant jobs. That's what I
I'm
call it.
hey,
We are
so
AI resistant.
so
Yes.
on the job site right
Y'all
now,
coming
right?
for me.
Hey, so look on the job site I'm on right now. I'm the tugger. You hear me? I'm
That's
the
right.
tugger.
Come on,
I
AI,
am the tugger.
get it.
Yes,
But hey,
sir.
but look, let me be the tugger. I'm getting paid to be the tugger. Come on with it.
Right.
Yep.
I don't want nothing replacing me. Why? Because I'm gonna be sitting at home while y'all got a machine. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Nope. No, come on. We better hustle and bustle and get it together. So
Yeah.
y'all
Yeah.
see my mindset.
I mean, I would say that it does have its perks, right? Where
Mhm.
one place in my industry that it does have its perks, and like where failure, like or let's put it this way, where rework is not most beneficial, right? Rework is not beneficial in any job site, right?
Mhm.
But the beautiful thing about, like, I would say the orbital welding process is like you plug in the numbers, right? I mean, it has all the data and it has the material thickness and it'll calculate on how to get the perfect weld, right? Now, these are ones that when you're doing your prefab or when you're in like that clean process. So like I work in semiconductor industry, right? I work in the Intels, TSMC, so big tech, like working in the semiconductor industries, um, and where there's no room for failure because of the type of material that's being created, right? That's where I want to say it really does enhance, like, and it makes it easier because again, you do, like the unions got these kids like staged up, right? They're the pipe fitters first. So these are not welders doing this. This is a pipe fitter doing this because he's fitting all his stuff up, right? He's getting his process piping, he's cutting his bands, he's cleaning the bad boys out, he's making his fit ups, and then he's putting what's called a orbital welder to where they clamp it around the pipe and it welds itself. Like you hit the button and it goes, right? And it has all the heat.
Mhm.
It has like you don't even need to wear the welding hood, right? I mean, you come in with the your shortcuts, tank top, flip flops on, you could do this process. Like it's not gonna hurt you. I mean, you just don't touch the weld after it's done. But um, no, I'm just saying though, like that's where it's very effective because again, like it puts them out, it'd probably take at least like 10 seconds to get a weld that would normally take somebody about 5-10 minutes to bust out, right?
Mhm.
And so, but again, you got to be the hands and feet extended to be able to make that process work. So, yeah, I mean that for me in my area, like it helps there. I mean, it's expensive process, but it's only for like the high purity lines to where they can't get no, I mean, for clean room stuff, right? I mean,
Mhm.
when they're making those microchip plants, like at TSMC, they got rooms where there's not even a single speck of dust. And if a speck of dust got into that room, got onto that material, it destroyed the whole process. So like the
Mhm.
filtration systems they got set up, I mean, they got these self-cleaning machines where they're constantly like pushing out air, self-cleaning. Man, it's crazy. But like in those types of environments, that's where the AI processes is super clean, super efficient. Because man, when you're in a room like that, you can't be cutting, grinding, like doing a bunch of crazy stuff, right? You'll screw up the whole process, and that's billions of dollars worth of equipment destroyed, right? So that's
The
where I
challenge
believe
is
it's
cool
it's
though.
effective.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's where I feel like it makes the most sense to have those processes. Now, again, the beautiful thing about coming up in this industry and learning that process before I mean, orbital welding's always been a thing, right? But I remember when, we were in these food processing plants when we were doing stuff for like, one of the biggest beef distributors here in the United States, JBS. Like we had to hand weld those pipes. We had to purge, I'm speaking a different language to you guys, but for those of you guys out there that are welders,
Oh
you
no,
know what I'm talking about,
we
right?
get
It process welding. You're doing sanitary, they call it sanitary, right? And so if you could do that stuff by hand, you could, I mean, man, like that skill set again, like your level of exposure would determine your level of success. If you could operate in that skill set, you could do it freehand. You didn't need to use like the little piggyback system. Or man, I wish you guys like knew the process, and like I could tell you, like, because it's not going to make sense if I explain it right now, but ultimately, like, man, just being able to do that without that orbital machine, man, you're needed,
Yeah.
right? And
So I want to
so
tell you what,
yeah.
there's welders that are in the electrical field as well. We have
Oh
some
yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah. Yep, yep. I
we,
saw that.
We also
I
get
should not do.
certified
I
in
like
welding
solder.
too.
I'm not trying to weld. Yeah.
No,
I'm a
no,
good
no, no, no,
solder.
no. Trust me. It's 120 degrees out here in Arizona, right? On the roof I'm on about 125, 130. Like
Oh
you
my
got that metal.
God.
Yeah.
I'm so glad right now that, the pipe fitting aspect of what I do, like I don't gotta weld if I don't want to weld. Like I'm gonna jump on some copper. We're gonna just do some fit up. Like I'm gonna pipe in these air handlers. Like I'm gonna do some layout. That's the beautiful thing about, have mastered the skill set, and then you have somebody that wants to learn it, man. You can pour into that young individual, and you could give it to them. Like I could train you to be, put me out of a job, but it allows me to be able to create more work for you so that I'm not and I mean, like, get it. I love the process, but like I'd much rather have, somebody who could do what I could do so that we could be twice as effective, right? And so again, that's just like your journeyman to apprenticeship process. I mean, they highly encourage that.
Yeah, and I would say like the spirit of competition is strong within the trades.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
Mhm.
And I
100%.
feel like it's well needed, but also
Healthy
it
competition, though. It's
yeah,
bad competition. It's
I would say
like
you have a combination of both, but
if you
yeah.
put
go
something up
ahead.
so like I know that we would do stuff like if we see something that ain't right, is like you gonna leave that like that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, yeah,
like I'm
that's
gonna let you
that.
think
That's that.
about it
Yeah,
because you are putting that up. You making not only are you looking bad, but you're gonna make all of us look bad. So we're not gonna say that looks bad. We're
yeah,
gonna walk by and make you think twice before you walk away from it. You gonna leave that like that? Okay.
Hey, yeah,
yeah,
oh my God. I remember when I first started piping, I got told that once, no, I'm not gonna leave that like that. I'm just getting a rough
Of
mock
course
up.
not.
I'm just getting a rough mock up of how it's gonna look. Don't worry. So, but yeah, the spirit of competition is definitely heavy within our trade. But like you said, it is more so. Like you said, what good comes bad, right? There is that, but I would say that there is more so people helping you out, people being like
yeah,
pushing for your success. At least in my experience, like I
yeah,
find that the only way you don't get what you need is if you don't want to. Because you go find somebody. If one person doesn't want to help you or anything like that, if they, I mean, you got those disgruntled old guys who like been doing this for 40 something years, and they see 20-year-old kid coming in saying good morning to everybody, how you doing? Come on, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to learn. You're like, man, who is this?
yeah.
Oh, and they
No, but
might, uh,
yeah, that's where that servant leadership steps in hand, man. That's where that you being the servant, right? I'm gonna get you, bro. You want cold water? Let me open that bad boy. You
that
want
be
me to hold
me.
it? Like,
That be
I'm
me.
joking, like, but like, I was put in spaces like that, and that's where, like, man, when you kill them with kindness, when you serving them at a level to where their job is like, they're more productive because you show up, and then
Hmm.
like you got everything they need, bro. They can't not help you. Like it's just like I don't. It's like the law of the universe. I don't know what it is, man. Like it's like it's amazing, right?
And I would say that's why I love, like we keep talking about that exposure level, right? Because me being a helper and just not being able to, like, as a helper, as a trainee, we weren't allowed to touch tools. So my hands were cuffed like the first 9 months of my electrical. So all I could do was just be the best servant I could be, right? Because I'm the low man on the totem pole already, right? So there's nothing I could do, but I could ask you what you need. You need me to get this for you, and I just carried that along. I just carried that attitude throughout my whole, like, the beginning, like, just start of my career, right? I'm still the bottom man on the totem pole. I just want, if I was down here before, I'm like right here now. I'm moving on up in the world slowly but surely, but it's still, you have to carry that mindset with you. You never want to think that you are greater than what you are, that just things of that
Mhm.
nature. So
Yeah,
I
and
try to just definitely carry that servant mindset.
well, I'm going to say this too is that, and even as you carry that throughout the apprenticeship, then you'll carry it into your journeyman phase. And then also, so like all of us we're in this next phase to where we actually have our own businesses that we try to use
Yep.
to not only to promote the trades, but just to promote ourselves. So, Ernest, I want to give you an opportunity just to talk about how you turn the skilled trades into a business, because I know that you've done your TEDx talks. You have, I don't know how many podcasts. Then you have your speaking business. And so you do a lot. You're also the vice president for the Chicago chapter for Next Level Speakers. So there's a lot that you do as far as your business. So just tell us about how you turn the skilled trades into a business and what you're doing on your platform.
Yeah, yeah. So when we've actually been LaShawn mentioned earlier a gentleman by the name of Jamal King who was here in Chicago, right? Because I'm a
9 to 5
Chicago
millionaire.
area
Shout out
also.
to the 9 to 5
Yeah.
millionaire.
So
Yes.
yeah, shout out to Jamal. But there's several things that Jamal has said in his trainings of teaching people investment with real estate. But not only is your level of exposure, but he also talked about the vehicle and his story, how he used the police department as a vehicle to fund his businesses when he started. And so it's that same thing, that same mindset of, you starting off at half scale. When you're starting off, I think I said, we were at like 20 something dollars an hour when I came in as an apprentice. Now we even just recently got a raise. So the bricklayers and I'm in Indiana right now. So we're at $46 an hour, I think now, which is a good wage to be able to build upon. But not only has it allowed me to build, to maintain my standard of living, but it also has allowed me to invest in, myself and invest in my businesses. So I was able to invest in the Make Real Estate Real program, which is Jamal's program. And all of us are a part of the Next Level Speakers Academy, and that allowed me to invest in that also, to where now I'm the vice president now of our chapter here in Chicago. And even just this year, I've had several speaking engagements. I got an engagement this Saturday when I'm doing my daddy daughter dance, first annual daddy daughter dance for dads and daughters of all ages here in Chicago. But even with that, even having a podcast, and Keisha, you mentioned about,
Green
how
Hearts.
many podcasts I have, right? But my main podcast, which is the Deal to Heal podcast, it allowed me to start that podcast several years ago and to invest in, equipment and things of that nature that I needed. And now I think I'm 190 something episodes in on that podcast, and then I started the Girl Dad Discussions podcast. And so it's just been so much that I've been able to do just because I invested in myself as a tradesman, and took some of that money, like Jeremy Anderson always says, don't eat your seeds. So my seeds as a tradesman has allowed me to plant seeds in other industries, to become a speaker, to become a podcaster, to invest in real estate, but all of that, if I didn't have a solid foundation in the building trades and made a decent wage to be able to, maintain my life, my standard of living in my life, but still have money left over to invest into my future, and I think that's one of the biggest things with the trades is not only, there's several things that I love about the trades. Number one, just working with your hands. Because one of the things I did growing up, and I still do occasionally, is a machine operator, right? I remember I worked for a glass company, I worked for Dr. Pepper, I worked for different companies running these machines. But the problem with that is you can't take that outside of that facility. So if you go to another facility and they have a different machine, your skills that you just learned on that last job, you can't bring until that, to that new machine. But within the trades, as long as you're working with your hands, especially with your basic hand tools, you can take that knowledge anywhere that you go, and you still be able to use it because it still applies. And so, yeah, just so many things, but starting off, being able to support yourself and to be able to invest into your future and your businesses because of the amount of income that you make as a tradesman and a tradeswoman, I think it is just amazing.
Yes, no, that is really good. And then just to give some shout outs where they're, just give credit where credit is due. We are all a part of Next Level Speakers Academy. So you are the vice president for the Chicago chapter. I'm the president for the ATM chapter, and that's Arkansas, Tennessee, and Mississippi. And our newest member, which is LaShawn, where he just joined the Chicago chapter, so that's amazing. And Dom, what chapter are you in? Because you're out there in
In the
Arizona.
California chapter, but
Okay.
I might be the
Is that
president of the
Carla
Navajo
alone?
Nation chapter. I'm
Yeah,
trying.
you know what I mean? You need to get the Native American
Hey,
chapter, right? So, Jay, you speaking into existence. 'Cause I'm going to tell you
Ooh-wee.
this. When I had my very first conversation with Kevin Ferguson, he's the president of the Chicago chapter. He was the one that signed me up with Next Level. And I told him, and I said, I'm going to speak this into existence. It was September 4th of 2023. And I said, I'm going to be the chapter president for the Memphis chapter. Well, lo and behold, I forgot all about it. And then he came to me last year and was like, oh, they approved. I'm like, approved what? And he told me, he said, because I just pitched it to Ed DeShazer,
Yeah.
and he's over all of the chapters. And I pitched to him at the conference last year, and I just said ATM because I thought about the other acronyms that they have, like DMV. So I said ATM, Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, and they said that they liked it. So I'm like, okay, great. So and I was already doing a lot, but I like to do a lot. I know you guys saw me running around at the conference doing a lot. Um, but
I've
I
yet to
just,
get to one of them bad boys. Oof.
look, so when they came to me and asked me, I'm like, okay, it was just something that I really felt passionate about. So, yes, being the president of the Chicago chapter, something else that I mean, excuse me, president of the ATM chapter, something else that I've added. But just knowing that that's how we are all connected. So even though we're doing something different, we speak on different topics, but just knowing that we have that. So you think about the power of proximity. This is how we all met, was through Next Level. And there's so many different things that we're doing differently, but we still came together just to collaborate.
Definitely.
Amen.
If it's cool, I wanted to actually touch on what Ernest said. So currently, right now, I do presentations on that exact thing, on turning your job is into your as your investor, right? So your job is your number one investor. As Jamal says, use it as a vehicle to get to where you want to go. So I'm gonna speak actually on me being like the newest guy and how I'm doing it as a budding entrepreneur and as a budding electrician in my career, right? So
Mhm.
one thing that I really do want to touch on about because okay, I'm 20 years old. My generation, we have the spirit of entrepreneurship and I absolutely love it. But please come here, hear me, right? I understand that you want to create a clothing brand. I understand that you want to rap. I understand that you want to play sports, right? You need a solid foundation to be able to do all of that. You need a solid foundation to be able to do all of that, right? Have something that can support you while you're trying to follow your purpose.
Mhm.
Because then it will come from a point of desperation. You're looking for your purpose to feed you versus you feeding it, and then you inherently feeding others, right? So as I said, I've recently came into my own as a motivational speaker, right? It has allowed me to make mistakes because you will make mistakes as an entrepreneur. You will waste money. You will spend some money on this. Oh, I don't even need that. Oh, there was a better way I could have been about it. Oh, I could have saved a few dollars here. Oh, I could have saved a few dollars here. Oh, I haven't had any speaking engagements in past 6 months. Okay, now we need to rechange the infrastructure. Now I need to change my website. You need to be able to do that from a point of comfort, not a point of desperation, because desperation will lead to more mistakes. And then it's not going to be something you love anymore. It's just going to be something that you're doing to feed yourself, right? So, in my situation, first year apprentice, recently came into my own as a motivational speaker. I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. I have like 3 LLCs right now from mistakes that I've made, right? I'm gonna put myself out there because it's true. But I know, okay, I'm about to work some overtime this week. I'm about to work a lot of overtime. We about to hit the ground running. I'm about to read these books. I'm about to buy these books. I'm about to buy some more mentorship. We about to hit the ground running for next time, right? My job allows me to do that, right? I'm a part of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, International Brotherhood and Sisterhood of Electrical Workers, right? Once I top out, I can do this anywhere in the country, including Canada.
Mhm.
That is power.
Very much so.
That is absolute power. I can go to California and make 60, 70 something bucks an hour. I can go to New York, make 50, 60 bucks an hour. I can be able to maneuver wherever I want. We call it journeyman. Journeyman for a reason. So let's just say my career, let's just say my motivational speaking career brings me to California, for example, right? I'm not getting any speaking engagements in California. Okay, I'm about to sign the books.
Hmm.
Now I can feed myself. Now I can replenish myself. So now I can feed my purpose. I can not only feed myself, but I can feed my purpose from a point of comfort. So now I'm able to look back. I'm actually able to look outside of the box, look back, and see exactly what it is I need to change versus me trying to change this quickly, me trying to change this quickly, me trying to change this quickly to make a quick buck. So that's what I have to say to that. So all of my young entrepreneurs out there, please take from somebody who's actively doing it right now. Having a solid foundation is absolutely imperative to your success. So
So, and I'm going to say this really quick is that, I try to tell my children, I try to encourage them to go to do the things that they feel are powerful, that they're connected to, that are their dreams, but you still have to have a way to fund your dream. So
yeah,
even though they don't think about it, I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning because I had to be at work at 4:30. My oldest son was making sure that his younger brothers and sisters got to school on time because I was out there grinding. I was making a way for them by trying to fund their dreams because I wasn't even focused on my own dream. Well, now that I'm older, my kids are doing great. They're following their dreams. That's fine. But now it's time for me to start pouring into myself and start following my dream. So the fact that you have an opportunity to start doing that at 20 years old, that is phenomenal. And I love the fact that you get out here and you try to tell these kids, like you said, who are working at these places to where they're only making minimum wage, $15 an hour, on what they need to do. And it sounds okay coming from someone like me, but me being 51 years old, they look at me. I had somebody call me, what they call me? They call me granny. I'm like, you need to stop at aunt. You know what I mean? You ain't got to go there with the granny. But like, to listen to somebody that's older, but to have someone their age that's 20 years old and you're telling them that you're right there with them so they can use you as a person like, man, if he can do it, then I can do it. So that's powerful that you're getting out here and you telling these young people about how to get into the skilled trades and not only doing that, but just to use it to fund their dream. Because you start there doesn't mean that you have to stay there.
exactly. You are going to be the determining factor. You and God are going to be the determining factor in your fate. You and
Amen.
God are going to be the determining factor in your fate. So it's just when I go out there, and like I said, I live in Chicago. I live in Chicago. So we don't already have the best level of exposure. We are already not in the best environment that breeds our creativity. I am breaking up. So I tell these kids, right? I'm about to attack everything you think you know. However you thought was the quote unquote right way to make money, however you thought was the quote unquote right way to fund your dream. I promise you, just yesterday, I promise you, just yesterday, I was at the community center and something in my spirit, the Holy Spirit just came over me and I saw this group of kids and I just had to talk to them. Hey, what do y'all want to do with your life? Three of them said basketball. One of them said rapper. One of them said hair and nails. I'm like, and I have my cards on me that I show them, that I show my wages, right? So I say, hey, do you know that this is available to you? Do you know that what you're talking that you want your career to be, you need to now, that's your passion. That's what your passion is, right? What if that doesn't feed you? One of them said, yeah, one of them said you want to be a musician. I was like, bro, beating them drums ain't gonna be fun. Where if you mess up one time, that's the deciding factor if you eat oodles and noodles or you eating steak. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's gonna be the deciding factor where you taking the CTA or you got gas in the car. So I was like, hey, y'all need to have that solid foundation to do whatever it is you want to do. The problem isn't that you want to rap, play basketball, do anything like that. The problem is do it from a point of comfort. So
And do it because that's your gift and that's your skill. So I'm actually, I have the honor to be one of the moderators on ET's summer school that he has right now. It's etsummerschool.com. And kids, you can still sign up between ages 12 through 17. But sitting on those calls, and we had Neil Davis, who's out of Chicago. He was actually speaking yesterday. They have a special guest on Fridays. And so he was just talking to them about basically, you talk about you want to be all these things, but they're millionaires. I can show you how to do it. And he had all these kids in the chat that weren't, a lot of them were saying some positive stuff, but you had some that were not. He broke out the whiteboard and started doing some math and just telling them, okay, how much you make right now? Okay, and I think it was like $256 per week. He said you can make that on one weekend, and let me show you how. So he gave them the entire script on how to do it, on how to sell
mm,
something, on how to have a product. So this guy, and I don't you guys follow him. He is huge in Atlanta. He's huge everywhere, but
Yeah,
that's where he's
Nehemiah.
based out of. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I
for
mean,
sure. I
I
follow.
actually had an opportunity to meet him last year in November when he fed, oh my God, I don't even know how many. think it was over 2,000 homeless people that he fed
Mm,
for Thanksgiving last year. So I showed up and I was one of
Yeah.
his volunteers. And it was just, and I mean, it wasn't just like, no TV dinner food. He had, I mean, some really, really, really good food. But not only that, he had clothes for them. He had food. He had people were giving out free haircuts. There was all kind of stuff. So he's not only just doing it, he's pouring back into his community. And for him to just to show up, ET had him to come on and just to talk to the kids. But it was just powerful just to see. And then they actually started listening once he started giving them that game because he's not only just, talking the talk, he's walking the walk. And he's also sharing with other people on how to get to where he's gotten to. So, and I say that because LaShawn, that's what you're doing. You're showing the younger children on how to get to where you are. And, as far as all of us, we all have this passion to where that is just our legacy to where we want other people to get to where we are. And I've been an electrician, for 30 years. There's so many other things that I've done, but one thing I know that I can always do, I can always go back to doing electrical work. That is a skill that nobody will ever be able to take from me. Whether I
come
go in,
on.
I'm going
Amen.
in, I've
Yeah.
done modeling, I've worked I've been in maintenance, I have done all kind of stuff. I've been a cook, I've done all kind of things. At the end of the day, if I feel like this is not serving me well, I know that I can go back to IBW Local 474 in Memphis, Tennessee, and sign the books and go back to doing electrical work if that is needed.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
So,
No, man, crazy. Real quick, LaShawn, man, like everything we're trying to put into these kids, man, like you're their poster child for that, bro. Like that's just
hey, come on,
amazing, right?
man.
Because the exposure we're trying to give them, we're like, yo, look at LaShawn. Take notes on LaShawn right now because it's amazing that you connected with Keisha or even got in the next level, man. Because like, bro, like you were literally the blueprint. Like your life is the blueprint right now. Like you
Thank you, man.
or the image of what it looks like to set the foundation. Like what we want to see in these kids, bro, is what you're doing right now. You're a manifestation of that, right? So that's the beautiful thing is just like, yo, we're not just talking. We need you to see the individual. Like this is the model, like of what you need to, embody to be able to be, create a solid foundation. And praise God, man, you got your head screwed on tight, bro, because not many 20-year-olds I know really
Mm-mm.
know what they want. Not really, not many 20-year-olds I know. Man, I wish I had the clarity you had right now, LaShawn,
Right.
at 20.
I appreciate that,
I
my
mean,
brother.
I
Thank
had some clarity, but not as much as you did, bro. And praise God, like you're on the team, bro, because like I'm taking notes on you, brother. Like I want to run some of the stuff back that you talked about. You were inspiring me, bro, to be able to, make some shifts, even with speaking, bro, because we're doing the same thing. We're doing almost, but again, I got about 500 different federally recognized tribes I'm trying to hit, bro.
Nice.
And I'd love to bring you along. I'd love
Oh
to bring
man, come
and
on.
I
Let's
mean,
work,
bro,
bro.
because like,
Look, let me read a couple of these comments. So I got Mark Bell, which I know him well. We were in the apprenticeship school together. He says the kids today don't realize that the demographics of our skilled trade didn't always consist of many people of color. And now that people like all of us here, that have helped pave the way. So the door is wide open for the skilled trades. And there are over 500,000 open skilled trades jobs that are
Come
out there.
on.
Man,
yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
yes.
No, that's no, bro. Like my kids are, half African American, half Navajo, right? Well, they're not half, a little less than half, but the beautiful thing is man, like I could show them LaShawn, I could show my son, hey, take a look at what LaShawn's doing right now. And this possible for you if you want to go that route, right? And again, like, cause he wants to do what I want to do. He also wants to do the military, but
Mhm.
I'm like, boy, you need to get these, you know,
And
that
man, when I tell you, bro, this is like my God-given purpose, bro. Like this is all
I see
a
it.
God-given purpose. When I tell you, you want to know how I found Keisha? Well, firstly, Keisha saw me speaking at my union hall.
Yes, and actually I thought he was somebody else, and I saw the post, and then I liked it because I was at the conference, and I went to the person who I thought it was, and they said no, that wasn't me. So then LaShawn he DM me, and I was like, oh my God, you're the person who's posted. I like, because I thought, wow, IBW just came across my feed, and I'm like, oh, this is phenomenal to see this person speaking. So I'm glad you
Yeah.
reached out to me. Yes,
It's
Man,
just
that's
all
cool that
about,
they even give you that space too. Like, that's cool.
yes,
yeah,
that's
bro.
great.
It's
Cause
like
like,
when I tell you, I'm really trying to, like you said, if it is God willing, bro, if I'm the face of this, bro, I'm giving. I'm already, bro. However much effort given, I'm giving right now, 100-fold, bro, because I know what it's like to not have someone in your corner to tell you that you can be great, to not have someone give you that level of exposure and say you can be anything you want to be in this world.
Yeah.
Bro, I graduated in 2023, bro. Some of my graduating class died,
Hmm.
locked up, pregnant, haven't even experienced life yet, bro. Hair, nails, Walmart, Amazon. $18 an hour is the best they think they go get in life. I'm
Yep.
breaking that. I'm attacking your spirit. I am attacking everything that you think is right. I'm attacking that complacency in your heart. Why? Because I see your potential. Because I see that you're destined for something greater. You just don't know it yet. So we about to up that
Man.
level of exposure. We about to up your potential. We about to rewrite that destiny that you thought you was gonna live. So
Yep.
that's
Use
what
the
I'm
word
all about, bro.
Yeah.
on that one. But look, I'm going to say this is that it really is about your leadership skills because you have that mindset. And like, our mentor ET says it's UOU. So you started with yourself. And people see that you were being great and you were being that leader that and you have your communication skills down. That's where it starts. You got a lot of kids that don't even know how to talk. They don't even know how
And
to talk to people. So you're showing them a different way, and that's amazing.
And you're right about that. So even with so I just created 12 presentations, right? I've been developing this curriculum for a while. And in that curriculum, I have trades and career exposure, right? But also something I noticed because I dealt with a lot of things in the trade where if you don't have those soft skills as well, if you don't know how to adapt to a different environment, you're gonna drown. You're gonna drown. The trades will literally eat you alive.
So
So
I'm
I actually
I'm sorry. I thought you were done. You got me excited when you started talking about soft skills. Go ahead.
so I talk about first impressions, right? First impressions are everything. A lot of these kids, you used to be in 17, 18 years old, and a lot of stuff that rides here, the do-rags, the pants sagging, things like that. A lot of stuff that rides there, it's not gonna fly on the job site, my brother. There are no do-rags on the job site. There is no sagging your pants on the job site. There are no Jordans on the job site.
Mhm.
You need to be able to shake somebody's hand, look them in the eye, say your first and last name, come ready to work. So first impressions, that's a soft skill that I teach. Why? Because you need to know how to talk to someone that's not in your bubble. Why? Because in your bubble, you've been complacent. Outside of your bubble, you're going to be a bit uncomfortable. Why? Because it's something new. It's something new that you're experiencing, right? But growth is a very uncomfortable but necessary process. So I'm giving you first impressions. I'm giving you conflict resolution skills. Why? Because a lot of these kids, especially these Chicago kids, right? They You go through something, now you want to fight, now you want to shoot. No, why are you doing that? Just learn. You have to learn how to deal with things like an adult. You have to learn how to deal with things like somebody with a greater purpose. Rise above it. Don't ever let nothing affect your money. So I
Look,
teach those conflict resolution skills.
I'm going to tell you what Billy Hanks just said. He's in Next Level as well. He said, "Tell your story enough times the same way until the universe starts to listen and tell it better than yourself." So that's it right there. You know what I mean? And you talk about soft skills. So as an extreme execution coach, I'm a flight assessment change agent. So I
Mhm.
talk to people about not only how to communicate with everybody else, but you have to start with yourself, right? You have to learn how to think about how you talk to yourself, your self-talk. And then, one of the presentations that I have is that when I talk to technicians, what I tell them is that I know what the apprenticeship didn't teach you. I know what soft skills you didn't learn. So I'm going to help you to understand those soft skills like effective communication, like emotional intelligence, conflict resolution. There's no HR on the job site. There's no HR on a construction site. You don't get that information that we normally would get if you had gone through a different, gone through corporate or different
Mhm.
um, training. So what I try to do is to try to enlighten them through my presentations on basically how to have those or how to understand those soft skills that the apprenticeship didn't teach you.
Nobody cares about you more than you. No one
That's
is
right.
gonna make sure that you eat more than you, right? If you go let somebody take you out your job, well, and and this is what I tell these kids, right? You're gonna let them take you out of your job. You hit them, they gonna be hurt for a day or two. Then they back making money, talking at the game talks, talking about, well, that kid he worked really hard, but he just didn't know how to handle himself. He doesn't belong. And now you sitting at home trying to figure out how you finna make a way. So
Look,
you ain't
let
about to touch that
me-
stove.
no, I
So
want to ask you one question, see how good your journeyman is now. What is the first law of electricity?
first law of electricity is respect it.
Self-preservation.
Okay. Okay. Self-preservation. There we go.
Preservation.
Okay. There
We're
we
gonna
go.
take care of you first. You know what I mean? Whatever else you got going on, you're gonna take care of you first. So that was just a trick question.
There we go. So yeah.
All right, so we're getting ready to wrap this up in a short minute here, but I want you guys to talk about, we've talked about just the different things that we've done, what we're doing as far as leadership and different things like that. But let's just talk about what we have coming up, and any workshops, any events, any speaking engagements. Let people know, and then where they can find you online. Who wants to start?
I'll start. Again, this is Ernest James. You can find me at Ernest James on Facebook, Deal to Heal Podcasting Network on YouTube, and Ernest James Speaker on IG. I got a couple of things lined up this year already as far as events. But my most recent is this Saturday. No, not this Saturday, tomorrow, Sunday.
Oh,
Sunday, tomorrow, I am doing my first first annual daddy daughter dance for dads and daughters of all ages, sponsored by my podcast, Girl Dad Discussions, and where we're just gonna, have fun with our daughters and really go over some tips and share some things that help us to be better fathers and better girl dads. Yeah, and that's where I'm at right now.
oh, that is wonderful. Let me tell you what, my dad was my best friend. He passed away January of 2023. But so that, I think that's just great. That is more than usually that's the girl's first love is her dad. So to all you girl dads out there, I'm telling you, we appreciate you. I'm a boy mom. I got my daughter, but I got three boys. So I'm definitely a boy mom. They be walking around here calling me bruh. So
There you go. Okay. I'll go next. So you guys can find me on Instagram at Sean the Undeniable. So SHAWN the Undeniable. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook as LaShawn Sanders, right? Just first and last name, LaShawn Sanders. LESHAWN. None of that U, none of that SEAN stuff. No, it's spelled the God given way it was supposed to be spelled. LESHAWN Sanders, right? So a couple things I have going on is currently I got a few schools lined up for next year. I'll be talking about, again, like I said, trade and career exposure, those soft skills, and how to turn your hustle into a business. So that's what I got going on for next year.
I love it. I love it. All right, Don, what you got coming up?
So like right now, what I got coming up, I got a few engagements coming up this fall with some schools back on the reservation. So I'm going to be working with those students, doing pretty much the exact same thing you're doing, LaShawn. I'm doing follow-ups, and I got a new introductory. I'm going to be working with the district up in Flagstaff, so I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, man, and you could find me on Dom Inspires on Instagram, Dom Inspires on YouTube, and then Dominic Jacome on Facebook and LinkedIn. So that's what I got.
All right, good, good, good. Well, I think you guys already know, like my shirt says, I'm Keisha the Electrician. You can find me on YouTube, and I also have my podcast, Alpha Intuition, to where I stream usually every Saturday at 6 a.m. And right now, this season, I'm talking about leadership lessons I've learned in the field. And I also have some workshops coming up. I know next month I have another skill trade workshop coming up in the city of Memphis at the library on Poplar in front of Clark Towers on July 22nd at 1 p.m. And then just looking at pushing my crafting careers at Builds tour, going into the schools, talking to the kids about the skill trades. So just look for that to come as well. And if anybody's interested and need me to come out, would like me to come out to your school, you can find me on LinkedIn at Keisha L. Blair and Facebook. That's my government name, Keisha L. Blair. But if you look for me on Instagram, it's Keisha the Electrician. So yeah, I think this has been a great discussion. It's been a really, really good discussion. I appreciate you guys. And one thing that I do want to mention as well is that I'm really passionate about making sure that the women who start that we finish because sometimes it's just really, really hard. And I know we didn't even really tap on that, but you guys, I know you have your woes and things too, but one of the huge things for us is that when we try to do life, let's just say like have a child, there's really no space for us on the construction site. When I had my children, I actually had to stop because they call it a disability when I had my children. Luckily, I worked for a great company at the time that allowed me to work in the office to where I got some of those extra skills that you normally don't get on the construction site. So I just want to throw that out there. If you're a woman who is in the skilled trades and you are having any issues or you need someone to mentor you or to motivate you, you make sure you tap in with me. But so that's my last final word. You guys want to give some final words before we get up out of here?
Real quick, Billy Hanks was asking about
Oh, where's LaShawn from?
where are you from, LaShawn? I believe you
Oh,
said you're from.
From the shot.
so I'm in Chicago right now. So Chicago, I'm here. Yeah, if you'd like to connect with me again, Sean the
Yeah.
Undeniable is my Instagram, SHAWN the Undeniable, LinkedIn, LaShawn Sanders, LESHAWN Sanders. So give me a text. Give me a text. I'd love to hear from you.
Ernest, any final words?
Yeah, I just give this word of advice. It kind of came to my mind earlier when we were talking. Just to our young apprentices that's coming in, and it works for, or it applies to the building trades, but I think it applies to any young person. You know, you're starting out in life and you're getting into these different spaces that's much different than school. You know, when you actually get into the workplace and you actually go into these different spaces, one thing, one phrase to stay away from is "I know,"
Mm,
right? Because you're depending on the people who do know to teach you. And when they're trying to explain something to you and they're trying to show you something, when you start saying "I know," then that tells them, "Oh, he already know." And so then they start, feeling some type of way, and now they want to cheat you. And then when you do need to know something, and then you come and ask, they're gonna say, "No, you told me you already knew," And so, yeah, that's one phrase, especially on a job site, you want to stay away from is "I know." And even if you do know, just say, "Well, I think I understand." That's what I used to say. I would just say, "I think I understand, but tell me," and they may tell me the same thing I already knew, but at least I'm giving them the opportunity to let them know that I still want to learn more. And maybe I do know, maybe I don't know, but I'm open to learn. And so definitely on the job site, stay away from that phrase, "I know."
Mm-hmm.
that's good. That's good advice.
Yeah,
Good
my
stuff.
favorite phrase on a job site is, how do you do?" There we go.
Yep. I got one last thing real quick, man. Like, and this is for those kids that I mean, they truly don't know what they want. Like they're trying to find what it is, their purpose, or they're just trying to find a quick way to make cash, however that is, right? Like LaShawn said, you could come into the trades and it's a foundation that, well, it's really a vehicle that'll help you build your foundation. And I mean, that foundation, that vehicle will get you to your destination, right? You can invest in that dream with this job, with these skill sets. These are skills you'll never lose, right? These are skills that can, like you said, take you internationally. Matter of fact, even if you weren't international, you go international. Well, I mean, that's the same thing. But ultimately, yeah, no, soft skills and that, communication, those first impressions, like be willing to change, your environments. Like, don't be caught up in those groups to where it's like, don't nobody know what they want to do, and like we're just gonna figure it out, take life as it comes. Like, take that chance, jump into a trade, figure it out, reach out to us, right? Look at your local unions, look at your local opportunities, because I guarantee you guys, success is inevitable in the trades. There's no ceiling in what you can do. I mean, like you could top out in the trades, and if you didn't want to stay in the trades working for a man, you could build your own business. And like, I mean, again, it's just like it's an awesome place to elevate. It's an awesome place to earn income, and like, man, like there's no level to, or sorry, no ceiling in this place. Like it's just room for growth, room for opportunity. And it's something that AI is something that, nobody could take from you. You could take these skills anywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what I got for y'all.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say that for the three of us, between me, Ernest, and Dom, what we tried to do was make our ceiling your floor. So, LaShawn, we expect you to do the same thing. Take it and run with it. I think that you are doing a phenomenal job. I said that, but I think that it's great that the kids of today can see somebody their own age doing something so powerful. Because, you know, at 51 years old, like you said, I'm not trying to get up in no addict. I don't want to get in no ditch. I've done all that. I don't want to do that work. So to have somebody who's young and hungry, just stay hungry, stay curious. So what I'm gonna say to everybody, who's watching this and any people who are thinking about getting into the skilled trades, trust me, it will be something that you will not regret. But it's not easy. It will be difficult. You will have hard days. You will have plenty of people who will tell you that you can't do it, that you shouldn't do it, that you can't complete it. And when people said that stuff to me, it was very discouraging. But I had one mission in mind, that I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for myself, and I was doing it for my children, because I knew that they were watching me and I wanted to complete something for my life. So my motto that I always say is don't stop, keep climbing.
Mm, there you go. And then if you don't mind, just real quick,
Yeah.
right now I'm speaking to the kids who are hearing what I just said and now they might be a little bit curious, right? Change your environment, right? I met Keisha. I met everyone in Next Level. I met the amazing mentors that I have in my life because I knew it was something better there for me. So I'm speaking to the kids right now who may be a little bit down on hope, who may feel like they're just stuck where they are. Keep going. It gets better. Where you are is not where you are going to be. I absolutely promise you that. The society, they're going to try to tell you who you should be based upon how you look, based upon your zip code, based upon your parents. You are not beholden to any of that. You are not beholden to your zip code, your lineage, your income status. You can be whatever it is you want to be in this world. All you have to do is find people that do exactly what it is you want to do. Find them and latch on to them. Promise you, with some of us out there. So you say don't stop, keep climbing. I love that. So what I say is keep striving to be undeniable. That's it.
I'm gonna give you a mic drop on, and that's like a mic up on that one instead of a mic drop. We're gonna get a mic up on that one. I got my emojis flowing today. So you know what? We're gonna try to do this again. So we're getting into this rhythm that we are coming on here just to talk about the skill trades at the last Saturday of every month. So hopefully, if all things are in alignment, then we will be back in July for the last Saturday. So you guys can join us again. Please feel free to share this. I'm going to upload this discussion on YouTube. And I'm going to put it on both my platforms, on Alpha Intuition and on Keishelle Blair. I have two channels on YouTube, but I know we're going to stream it. I'm going to cut up some clips. So you guys just share this information, because guess what? Without skilled trades people, you wouldn't have homes to live in. You wouldn't have buildings to work in. You wouldn't have places to go shop in. So we're definitely needed out here. Over 500,000 open positions across the country. So we need to spread this word. So y'all, let's just come on. Let's just get it. I'm going to tell y'all my final thing. Y'all keep that energy.
Mm.
All right, y'all. Till next month. Peace.
Peace.